Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're diving into what's hot and what's not in the world of social media, TV, movies, all that kind of good stuff. Spoiler alert, it's not all pretty filters and all these different types of feeds. We're talking about things like OnlyFans, Instagram, I call it booty shakes, and why Twitter has now become the new wild, wild west of adult content. This is Just Another Take, Episode 5.
You know who made it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Just Another Take. We got a great show for you today. We got a little episode rundown over here going on, starting from what's hot, what's not, all the way down. Yeah, you see that. Yeah, that's the words. These are the actual words of what we're going to be talking about. And we're wrapping it up safety first style. Guys, let's give the people a little bit of information of what we are excited to talk about. What's something that you're excited to talk about?
For me, I guess that rides with one of the newest social media platforms out there in terms of OnlyFans. Like, I don't remember it being anywhere on the map until when the pandemic hit. And I mean, what,
Mm,
5
not the
years in
pandemic.
pandemic when everyone had to be
Ooh.
inside. And I guess
Mm.
that's where
And
you talk about,
everybody was trying to slide inside the DMs.
hey
I
man, that's where
got you.
people creativity at its finest, right?
Is it creativity though?
Well, we're gonna touch base on that. That's what we're here to talk about.
Yes,
That's
that's
what we're here
what
to
we're gonna
talk
talk
about.
about. Yeah, we're
All
gonna
right.
talk about that. How about you, T? What you thinking?
For me, it's definitely what's hot, what's not. We live in a world of trends, so really excited to kind of discuss that and how like society kind of just moves on like what's the next trend, what's the current trend.
Whew, not the trends. The trends. There's trendy dances, there's trendy hashtags, and there's trendy everything else that's going on. So we got from what's hot. I mean, personally, it's not that I don't like it. I mean, I'm not against it. But the Instagram booty shakes, I mean, again, I'm not against it. But I will say that it's interesting how Instagram has kind of changed up a little bit for us. So we'll start off with this kind of discussion of what's hot and what's not. So I think one of the biggest things that we should kind of get to is say this is all based off of kind of like what we feel, right? This is not trying to change your thought process. This is just what we think is hot or not, or what we've seen. And I've been told that I'm picky in certain situations before plenty of times as well. So we're going to get to kind of pick the brains of everybody. And I think I'm going to start with Tristan, especially because he said, this is something he's interested. Talk to me. Let's start off with the what's hot. What is hot in your eyes?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things where the kind of depends on like the month. I feel like the flavor of the month almost like for trends,
Okay.
right? So whether it's like a TikTok trend and you just see it everywhere. And the thing with like trends is they go viral so quickly that it's almost like if you're not doing it, you're not part of the cool club. Like, oh, did you not see that trend? Everyone else is doing it. So, just kind of like that following aspect, I find really interesting, right? Like we as a society, I guess, like discover whatever is cool and then everyone just kind of goes towards that and like that's the trend, that's what's popular, that's what everyone should be doing. So it's interesting when you break it down like that, where it's just like, well, first of all, who's deciding like what's hot, right? What makes something go viral? So really interesting.
It's so funny. Actually, I was you completely caught me off guard the way that you answered, because I was kind of actually thinking like, what do you think is hot? And you were like, depends on the month. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. But I get what you're saying now with the whole real thing. How about like in your eyes, like something that you would say is like, I think that this is sexy. I think this is hot.
So we're talking about
We'll
like
use the word hot.
like a physical type of thing. Is that what you're asking, Jay?
Whatever you'd like, man. This is your floor, man. I'm here just to listen to you guys and
Oh,
talk
we're
a little.
listening. Not, right.
we'll,
Three
we'll
guys, three guys talking who are not life coaches. We will say this one more time. We will say this
we
every episode.
listen and we don't judge.
Negative faith, but I definitely judged. I mean, again, like he said, things are kind of like flash in the pan nowadays. So
Okay.
it's, from 1 month we go from there could be that viral TikTok dance. I remember everyone was doing like this like weird cross arm thingy, like went up in the air.
Okay.
Going back to during the pandemic, like the Tootsie slide was like one of those big TikTok dances and things like that. I guess in personal, like physical appearance, I mean, I'm a sucker for nice eyes and a good smile, but that's just me.
Oh, I think that's all three of us, guys. I think every
I
single
can't,
one of us think
I
that
can't talk
same
for you.
way.
I can't talk for you. I'm not here to talk for you guys.
I agree. But
I'm not
I'll
cool enough
say
for the
this.
Virgo-y club of you two.
I will say that I agree with you. Okay,
Gotcha.
I think your Virgo card works there because seriously, eyes and teeth are the first two things I look at, and I know Tristan is the same way. I roomed with this dude. We like our first thought process is eyes and teeth.
Eyes,
So
teeth. Do you look
how
at
about
sneakers? Do
hair?
you look at kicks? I look at kicks.
You look at kicks. I
I'm a
think that
sneakerhead. I'm a
comes,
little bit of a
yeah.
sneakerhead.
Well, that's the thing. I think if you're really like into that, then
Mhm.
you're gonna start doing that. So like,
Yeah.
I went to Verizon to return a modem. So I
Mhm.
was going and I went in and the woman who was working there, very pretty, nice eyes, nice teeth. I was like, this is cool. Look down, she's wearing a pair of Jordan ones. I'm like, all right. I
Mhm.
looked immediately because you got me
What?
into being a sneakerhead.
Who?
Yeah, you,
Who?
you.
Who?
This guy.
But
Who's you?
Tristan, you. No, sorry.
¿Quién? No hablo inglés. No hablo inglés.
Podcast Poppy.
No hablo español también, pero.
So Tristan, what are you saying? Do you look at kicks?
I actually look at like matching. So like
Okay.
kicks, yeah, but the kicks gotta match the outfit.
So your
So
overall
for me,
outfit, okay.
yeah, like the overall ensemble. So maybe
Mhm.
it's the Virgo in me, right? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
matching to a T. But yeah, no, it's the whole outfit for myself. Like it's gotta go. Like if it just
Mhm.
doesn't flow, like I don't know, I can't vibe with that. But
Is it-
like if you're well put together, for me that's hot. So if it's like a trendy outfit, and the kicks match, that's fire for me. But
How about the dirty Air Force Ones? That kills me, bro. That kills me. When these
Well-
girls are wearing like the Air Force, the Uptowns, and they're white and they're dirty, I'm like, yo,
By the way, I hope
you
everyone knows
gotta.
what Uptowns are.
I know it. I said Air Force Ones first, so that
Tell
they
me you
know
from
what
New
it
York.
is.
Tell
Yeah.
me you from New York.
Exactly. I say that in Florida. I'm like, yo, you got the Uptowns. They're like,
What?
I'm like, oh, the Air Force
And
Ones.
do you call them butters? Do you call them butters? Those are
No,
Tim's.
no.
Those are Tim's.
I
Nah,
was
too
about to
much? Too
say,
far? Too far?
you're
Too
going
much?
too
All right.
long.
My bad.
So
My bad.
so here's the deal. That look to me is a little. I'm not a fan of it. I'm always like, yo, you gotta take care of your shoes, because I'll tell you this. I think what instilled it to me was actually like my upbringing. Like my mom was the kind of person who would say you gotta match your underwear to your whole outfit. And her thing was like, God forbid you get to go to the hospital and they have to take care of you. You got to make sure that you're looking. And I'm like, really?
Wait.
Like that's the reasoning behind it. But it was always like, you got to make sure everything matches. So to this day, if
Mhm.
I'm wearing, like, I pick out my boxers to whatever color that is, and then my outfit will go on to whatever that is, because that's just how I was brought up.
That's a good one.
So I mean, that's just me, man.
Yeah,
That's just how I am. So if that's the case, if you take care of your sneakers and you take care of yourself,
Mhm.
that goes to taking care of your hygiene and taking
Yep.
care of all that kind of stuff. So you
Mhm.
see somebody who has like nice eyes, nice teeth, you're like, oh, you're going. And listen, I'm not trying to bust on people who don't have nice teeth like that. Like, let's not bring it there.
Mhm.
We're just saying that that's something that's attractive to us.
Yep.
I would say another thing that comes along with that is the idea of like hair, right? For me, I'm a sucker for hair. Whether it's curly hair, I've been having this kick about curly hair. I don't
I
know.
don't think it's a kick, bro. It's not a phase.
It's it is a phase. I like me some straight hair, but that I don't know. Whatever the case may be, stop.
If,
Don't judge.
if,
We
if
listen.
our,
We listen.
I told you I
We
made a
don't
face at the
judge.
start that you
We
said this.
listen.
I made
We
a
don't
face the
judge.
moment you said this because our group chat will show otherwise.
Oh well,
Your
we can't.
Honor, Your Honor.
No,
Oh,
we
not
can't
the
go there.
snitching.
Damn,
Scott took the
damn,
plea deal.
I'm not even in the
damn.
club. Hey, from
So-
outside the club.
Dang. So yeah, so what I would say is like nice hair though. Like you take care of it. You take care of it. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I also like really long hair. I'm like a fan of long hair. Like really short hair. I've seen people pull it off. It looks great, but personally, it's just not my thing.
Mhm.
I would say to this, has okay, you know what? Let's get into it. What's
Just ask,
not hot?
say the weird
What's
thing.
not hot? What is something that you say is not hot? You want me to start? I'll
Go
start
ahead.
if you need me.
You want to. You brought up
Those
the topic.
long
Set it off.
nails.
Set it
The
off.
long nails. I can't do it. I can't do it.
How can you do anything? How do you wipe your ass?
How do you wipe your ass? That's what I said. Yo, that's what I say. Yo, and then
Tickle.
Oh, oh no.
Not
But
the
when
tick-
you wipe, then it gets underneath your fingernails? Nah, chill, son. I'm done.
That's like,
I'm
yo, how did
done.
friggin'
I'm done.
I mean, like, how did Freddy Krueger wipe his ass then?
The other hand.
No, he had the shits on both hands.
No, he didn't. That's
He didn't.
tell me you're
Is this
young
a Mandela
without telling
effect
me
on?
you're
Did I
young.
did I Mandela effect that shit?
No,
You're
he's not
disqualified.
Wolverine.
Well, Wolverines retract. Your
Anyway,
nails don't retract.
So what we're saying is that with those nails, I'm just like, for me, it's not like a big, I don't know, it's not a turn on for me. Like
So
I
there's-
prefer like a normal, like not like super short, but like just like a normal natural nail. I
Like
think
when
that's
it's
cool.
when they're extensively long,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because there's some that like you've seen like you said, you either have like, but I also think it depends on like your certain profession. Like I've met a lot of nurses and stuff like that. They generally tend to have lower cut nails because they're like all the gloves and stuff like that. Kind of thing too. But like I agree with you with like if it's overly drastic or like overly long, it's like how do you get things done? Like you drop a coin, you can't pick that up. I've seen you struggle. Drop your credit card, pick that up.
It's on the phone
not
now,
happening.
baby.
It's not happening.
All right, T, what do you think? What do you think is something that you would say is not hot?
Oh, I would probably have to go with like excessive tattoos. I mean, I don't mind tattoos. I like
Okay.
tattoos, but I think like excessive, like covering the whole body is a little much.
Like that tattoo that's all black.
Ugh.
Like they just get black. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Sucker for it,
And also like I would also throw in boatloads of makeup. Like this whole
I agree with that.
You get dolled up. Like makeup's cool. Don't let's not get it twisted, but it shouldn't be where you turn like 4 shades of a different color. That's wild to me. I think it kind of takes the whole purpose of makeup a little bit too far. But like the boatload of makeup, not it for me. I don't. Mm-mm.
There are some girls and even guys that when they do their makeup, it is like dope. Like I'll sit down and I've sat down and watched one of those tutorials. Like, dang. First off, you got to give credit to these girls and these guys who wear makeup because if you think about it, like the fact that they have to put that artistry in every single day. So again, we're not getting to the point of wearing makeup. It's the excessive caked on, just like pow, 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 like too much, changing yourself to a different like color.
Blend that properly. If you don't blend it right, that's gonna look.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of
I
things.
hate that I know that term.
I got you. So how about you, Andrew? What do you, Is there something that you would think like is one of yours, like where you're like, nah, I'm not a fan of that?
The what's the piercing that's like right here?
The nasal septum.
Yeah, that one.
Nasal
Mhm.
septum.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one's kind of like, again, there are plenty of people that have been able to pull it off.
Hmm.
Kudos, but I feel like my encounters, I'm just like, that's not 100% for me. I mean, freaking, I think of like the bull in Spain. I'm like, here's my red flag. Let's see if we run towards it or not.
Mm.
Kind of thing. So that for me, that septum piercing or nasal septum kind of thing has just never been quite it for me. Um, I'm a fan of like if you got a sleeve or a tattoo sleeve. I don't know. So
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mess
yeah.
with it. I'm cool with that. I accept it. Um, but I think sometimes seeing like a neck tattoo, those always throw me off as well.
They throw you off. Nice.
I, I did.
They are gonna.
Wow.
Mama, I did
They're
not
gonna
say that. Mama, I did not
Hell.
say
be.
that.
They are actually kind of tough because in general, that's a very very like sensitive area in
Mhm.
general. So like getting that puts a lot of dedication. So you got to be like, this is what I want to
Yeah,
You
get
want
that.
that.
and pain tolerance
You
is
want
crazy.
that. So I got you. I got you. I'm with you with all that kind of stuff. When it comes down to how the internet and how things are kind of changing things for us, how do you think something like Instagram or Facebook or these social media outlets are changing this idea of what is hot and what is not? Because like realistically it is, right? We're going through these things and we're kind of seeing people, and this is going to be not even just for us or as a guy looking at it, it's like also as a girl, right? Because as a girl you're looking like saying, oh, I have to look like this, like is this something that I
Mhm.
have to do? So T, what can you talk a little bit about how like social media has changed the idea of what's hot and what's not?
Yeah, I feel like it's become social media has become like a popularity contest where it's just like everyone seeks validation in some sense, right? So I think social media kind of gave everyone that platform to kind of test it out. And when you think about it, you break it down, like whether it's like your school, like junior high, high school, like that's where we kind of get introduced to this popularity and what's cool and that whole concept, and social status and so forth. But social media kind of magnified that, right? So now you can get
Mm,
instant validation where you can put a post out and see how many likes, and I'm gonna admit, like you post something and you're definitely checking how many likes you're getting. We're
of
not going
course.
front like you're not gonna check that, but
Hmm.
it's that instant validation that you get from it because it's like a reassurance, right? Oh, people like what I just posted, and you
Hmm.
get it instantly, right? It's a notification on your phone. So I think that's kind of changed and blended the culture. Whereas people are posting stuff and putting stuff out there for the world to see. It's on the internet, and then you're getting this validation, or you're at least seeking it. So
Mhm.
Hmm. How about you, Andrew? Do you got a idea of how that kind of changes the perception of what's hot and what's not?
Yeah, I mean, you see everyone's looking to be like the next kind of like maybe viral person. So like, hey, whatever that trend is, I'm gonna look to maybe model myself after that. So, if this kind of aesthetic is what's really popping right now, oh, how can I, what do I got to do to look, match that aesthetic per se?
Was that on purpose? The aesthetic?
he
Because that's
definitely
that was
Oh
pretty
does.
no,
good.
that actually,
That
to
was
be
Definitely.
pretty good.
honest, I
That was
wasn't
pretty
even.
good. That was pretty good. I listen. I smiled for. I was like,
Not
okay.
the punny.
I'm not gonna
All
lie. I was like, why are they smiling?
right.
And this is
Virgos.
So
why I'm
You
not. This
wouldn't
is
get
why
it.
I'm
You
not.
wouldn't
This is
get
why
it.
I'm not in the club. This is why I'm not in the club.
you would. Yeah. So okay. So here's the deal. When we see a girl post something on Facebook or on Instagram or on one of these social media sites, and they're doing one of those viral challenges, they're doing it, or viral dances, whatever, they're doing it to get the algorithm going. Like this is stuff that us three were kind of trying to learn and try to do even by doing this podcast, right? Like we're
Mhm.
trying to talk to more people and connect with more people. They're doing the same thing. So my question is, do you think that it maybe starts off now that these, the younger generation, I don't want to say these kids and sound like 100, but like the way that these kids nowadays are seeing that you can make money off the internet. So they're thinking, let me go ahead and do that. Like that person did it. Why can't I do it? And then it falls into the trap of what Tristan was saying, that like now we're just going for likes. Now,
Mhm.
how many likes can I get? How many views can I get? And with Reels, I mean, it's making everything really easy. Anyway, so then what we're going to do
Don't you
is
dare, Tristan. Don't you dare.
I would say is
I'm
this:
not.
go back to the conversations that we had before. People who require the most kind of attention maybe don't always have the highest self-esteem. So does that kind of fall into the thing that you were saying, Tristan, that maybe like somebody who's kind of down on themselves already, and then they post a picture and then they get these likes and they're like, oh, look, I can get this another, like, kind of what we were talking about, the endorphins rush that comes in, and that oxytocin that kicks in, that feeling of love that we're actually getting. I mean, if you think about it, it's a heart, right? You're hearting it, you love it. So you're
Yep.
getting that love. So do you think that that's kind of plays into it as well?
Oh,
The
absolutely. I think
psychology?
it's. Oh yeah, no, I think it's definitely part of it, right? Because you post something, you get that instant gratification, you get that heart, right? So that validation that you're seeking as someone who may not have a high self esteem, you've got that. But I'll bring you back, I think, to the first episode. How about that, where we talked
Mm.
about social media, right? And how it kind of allows everyone to create almost like a different persona, right? Because
Oh,
you can
yeah.
live a social media life and you can live your real life. So there are memes out there that kind of poke fun at this, like me on IG, me in real life. But it's
Hmm.
a real thing when you think about it, because it allows you a whole different platform and you can be someone else to a certain extent, right? Because you can kind of expose yourself but protect yourself in some instances, but you're putting yourself out there. And if you're someone who wants this, to be popular or to seek that validation, it also allows you that platform to do so. So I think it kind of gives like lends a hand to people kind of doing that as well.
Cool. Yeah, and I hear you 100%, because I think as we're getting older now, some of the things that you see when you're younger and some of the things that you see when you're older, like they're completely different kinds of things of hot, right? Because hot to me is someone who has a job. I'm like, oh, that's hot. Like you got your ish together. Like, oh, baby, you are like, I'm about to get down on one knee. Like you, what are you talking about?
She the
Like,
one.
You
she's the
got you
one.
got benefits? Oh,
Say
You gonna
less.
put me on my
you have a retirement plan? Oh my god.
You got a
Mm.
401 unk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's
Oh,
get it.
let's go. So, nah, but that kind of stuff is like
Roth
super
RLAs for the
to
win.
Roth IRAs.
RLAs for the win.
I'm like, that's kind of stuff to me is like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like,
Mhm.
but you know, there's other things. Like for me, a big plus is if somebody can sing. I know that that's so weird, but that's like if a girl can sing, my heart just like melts. I turn into like one of the groupies. I'm like, like that's
In-
me.
Instant follow.
Instant,
I can't
instant.
say none because
Like
I've witnessed
I
that.
love it. Yes, I'm telling you, it's true.
I've
I
witnessed
would not lie
it.
to you. I would not lie to the people. To the people, I'm here. I say the truth. 100%. And weirdly, if she can throw a spiral, that's another thing that's a weird one. If she can throw a spiral on a football, for some reason, I'm like, that's awesome. That's
Ring
awesome.
size, please.
But I think again, that's like remember you tied into like, hey, this is what my mom taught me with the ambulance thing. Like
Hmm.
I know you've always been a music person though.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
thing on the backside and football, like the amount of Madden the two of you play and talk about. Okay. So
Whatever do you mean?
whatever do I
Yeah.
mean? You're somehow low key guys, audience, they're somehow playing Madden in the background. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing
It's right there.
it. So like again, for me, like I grew up playing baseball. Girl who can throw and like get down on like a softball field or athletic and doing other things too. I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, nah,
I'm with
you're
it.
right.
I'm
So
with
it's all about
it. And a dancer,
relevance.
like good at dancing. I think
Dancing, yeah,
dancing
yeah.
too.
So it's all about relevance to what's important to you, right? So
Mhm.
like if this is important to you or you find like it's something, then you're gonna, excuse me, you're gonna like it and you're gonna find that more attractive.
Heart it.
Now, I won't say that there aren't physical features
Mhm.
that we are not attractive to.
Yep.
I would say for myself, I'm more of an ass man. Um, Andrew, are you gonna talk about yours? Because we already know what Tristan's is. We just gotta tell the people. But
There's a reason I'm the guy in the middle because I'm both. So
oh, you're a both guy.
Oh
Okay,
wow.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
we
And
don't we,
Tristan,
we don't discriminate. All
Yeah.
are
Tristan.
welcome.
I'm the boobs guy.
So
Just straight up.
straight up. So here's the thing. Since our phone is constantly watching and listening to us, isn't it like crazy that the algorithm starts bringing these pictures and
Mhm.
videos and things towards your Instagram and you're like, huh? And
Huh.
like you get peaked and you look and then you look at the next one and then you like fall in a rabbit hole and now every day when you open up your Instagram, it's not suitable for work. You cannot open up your Instagram at work. Because if you do, you're like, that was a exercise video. Like you can't like you
What
can't
is
open
that
it up.
happening in the background?
Like can't. So what I would say is that Instagram and the social media has opened up something that is the the world's oldest profession, which is being like some sort of like, you know, because sex sells, right? Sex sells. And whether it's just going to be shaking your butt, and when someone does that to a viral song, to a viral dance, and puts the right geo tags on there, which is the hashtags and all that kind of stuff, they can literally blow up. There's been videos that I've seen that is just girls and you don't even see their face. And you're like, I mean, okay.
What's on your algorithm?
Yeah, like that's crazy. Stop it. The same thing that you send us in the group chat. Fired back.
That wasn't
Yeah,
me.
I
That wasn't
got
me.
you.
No,
Got you right back. Don't come at me.
no, there's
Virgos,
faces. There's faces in the
real
one I send.
real Virgos keep
All right,
receipts there,
I'm
buddy.
looking at their faces.
So anyway,
They
so
have
there's
I'm
great
just
there's
I'm
those
out
kind
here
of
just
They have
things.
catching
great
strays.
personalities. They have great personalities. You ever talk to
So
one of them?
there are things that happen over and over. So what I'm gonna say is, does that really open us up to like the next kind of thought was this idea of OnlyFans. OnlyFans, kind of what Andrew was alluding to, has really gotten big because of things like the pandemic, where people are able to kind of create a business for themselves about themselves,
Hmm.
right? And I think that the start of OnlyFans and all these kind of things didn't start off as like this kind of, you know, sex kind of thing. It might have started off because like Patreon and those other kind of places. I think what they try to do is set up a situation for social media people and other things to have fans where you
Hmm.
can go and have like live chats with people who are celebrities and stuff like that. But it changed. It
Hmm.
kind of changed over to this new kind of thing. So Andrew, you know, let's talk about the rise of this
Hmm.
OnlyFans thing. Like how did this what did you see coming with this idea of hot and not kind of coming into play?
I mean, like you mentioned, I feel like OnlyFans was probably something like created, or again, I didn't know about OnlyFans until the pandemic, but it's a place that you could probably make a brand for yourself, like just
Mhm.
literally yourself, kind of thing. And pandemic hits. A lot of people have to, we had a quarantine and things like that. If you weren't deemed considered an essential worker, and some people unfortunately lost their jobs, and they had to find a second source of income. And if hey, this seems like a pretty easy way. It was a free platform, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's a free platform. Like
I'm not
again,
sure.
we're not sure yet. We don't have one of these. And
It's definitely
again,
not free to see, but to
well,
make it, I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. On the making
Oh,
part,
okay.
and you're
Yeah.
finding out, hey, you can generate an income out of this, and
Yeah.
how do you do it? All right, and it's if you're treating it like a social media and Instagram, I got to find out what's trending, what is, and I mean, you literally just said it not even a minute ago, sex sells. And, some people are, very body positive. They feel comfortable with themselves. And hey, I'll go out there and show what we got, show what mom and daddy gave me and things like that. And hey, if it starts to sell, I'm generating income. And it's an income from a home where you're not going anywhere. You do your videos, you do your stuff. You've got your own schedule. So, there's a lot of selling points that people may have been looking for. And it was a way to help generate some income in a time where income wasn't readily there for some people.
So like there is also like this idea that like with the OnlyFans, it doesn't even have to be like nude,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like girls could be just having essentially like an Instagram, but like a more exclusive Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what ends up happening there is that people think right away it's like OnlyFans. Oh, that means they're going to get nude.
Yep.
So we're going to sign up for that because that's what
And
we're here for. And it's an interesting kind of play on either way. But going with that, Tristan, like with the OnlyFans thing, creating a business, right? This because that's what these girls are doing, and guys, and there's everybody doing it on
mhm.
the OnlyFans. Creating a business, being able to kind of make money from home, like Andrew was saying. How does this now shape the idea of beauty and what's hot and what's not in the scope of using OnlyFans?
Yeah, I think it's the whole thing with OnlyFans. I think it's a natural evolution of social
Okay.
media because when you think about it, when you get followers, they're not all your friends, right? They're not all people that you
Hmm.
personally know. Sometimes it's literally random strangers who come across you, they've interacted with you, and they follow you. So that is a fan of you, right? That person
Hmm.
found something attractive to follow you on a social platform. So I just see it as a natural evolution. So like now you have the social media where now it's like, how can I make money off of this? Oh, I can have my own quote unquote online business, right? So, now you're taking your videos, your pictures, and you're taking that same fan base, your followers, right? And now you just converted that to a monetary stance. So
Mhm.
I feel like it was natural in terms of like how social media was going. And to answer the second part of the question, I just feel like now once you've kind of set that standard, the content is now what dictates and sets the trend. So if we go back to trends and what's popular, that's now going to be what's considered sexy, right? So now we see certain photos, certain videos, and this is what is sexy. And it kind of like defines it for everybody else.
Like the arc in the back, like when they do the little arc in the back. Sexy. All right. So, question for you: is this kind of thing? So, what I'm hearing is that this is here to stay. This
I
is
mean, I
this
don't
is
think it's
not just a
going though.
fad.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not a
So,
phase, mom.
okay. So then with these people showing up and like, because even celebrities have been getting on and saying like, "Oh, I'm doing an OnlyFans," right? Wasn't there like, was it Bella Thorne who decided that she
Yeah,
wanted to do
but
the
as you
thing?
said, it doesn't mean like it's not gonna be exactly. She knows she has a fan base, if it kind of thing, and now it's a way to generate another stream of income. That hey, I don't have to be a Bella Thorne actress, singer, if I remember correctly, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
Hey, I don't maybe need that movie contract to generate an income anymore, or have to be on set for all this. Hey, I can do this from home. I can just record when I
She made a
go away on
stupid
a
amount of
vacation.
money.
And again, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? Hey, people don't want to always see everything. Some people like that mystery. Oh, what is this? It's creative enough to build interest. And she had a fan base already from the get-go. Fan base will follow more often than not, and making money.
Yeah. So what actually happened with her was what I was alluding to was the fact that she actually made an OnlyFans with the idea that everybody was thinking that she was going to get naked. So she actually made a stupid amount of money. Like I'm talking, it was like crazy over a certain amount of time. And then apparently it was like not. So she was not going to do that, and she posted like 3 pictures and then like dipped or something like that. I don't know the 100% of the story,
Mhm.
so don't quote me, but from my understanding, the gist of it was the thought process was that she was going to do something, she didn't, And since, like you said, all the fans came in and everybody wanted to see, they piled in and sent all that money,
Mhm.
and she made like a
And
killing.
remember, fan base, and it's like, oh, I'm only charging $3. Hey, man, if I get what 100,000 people to give me $3 a pop,
Heck yeah.
it's $300,000.
Heck yeah.
Easy math.
And
Wow,
here's
yeah.
the other part of it. Remember, it's a subscription. So remember, subscriptions, the way that they work is that it's maybe it's $3 to start, but
Mhm.
then the next month it kicks in that $20, $25. And most people forget to cancel the subscription. So it's not until 3 months in where you're like, dang, what I'm still paying for this? Oh, I gotta
Mhm.
go do that. So you're right. 100,000
That's it.
people at $3. But imagine now 50,000 of them forget to do it. Now you got 50,000 of $25, and you're like, ooh.
Yep. You still, again, adds up.
So
Math.
so what I would say is that some of these people that are on OnlyFans, they've become as famous as people who are celebrities, right? So like, there's that, who's that, Sophie Rain, is that's the one who, she makes like, well, like $1 million a day or something like that. She's like, more like, the amount of money that she has is ridiculous, and they're getting even more famous than like the actors and
Mhm.
actresses that were kind of going. So does that like challenge the traditional idea of like fame? Does it like mess things up for people? Does it make it like that a girl has to go? Because back in the day it was like, if I'm an actress, I'm going to do a movie, and well, they want to do a nude scene in the act,
Mhm.
and some actresses are like, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to degrade myself like that.
Mhm.
Some of them say, if as long as it's tasteful, I'm okay with it. But now, is it almost like telling these girls that like it's easier to just go on OnlyFans? Is that
Mhm.
something like, yeah, go
I
ahead,
mean,
T.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really just another avenue for people to kind of use popularity, because when you think about like what makes a celebrity, it's because they're popular, and it's
Mhm.
because they have a stage, a platform, right? So we see them on TV, we see them in movies, so they're then put on a separate like whole stage, right? Because they're at work, we're watching. That's exactly what OnlyFans is. You're watching videos, you're peeping photos. So it's like you've just created that platform for them without them having to, I guess, sign an official movie deal. Like they're
Mhm.
making their own movies, they're making videos, right? Or taking photos. So it's really just, it's not that much different. So it's really just finding another way to become popular and to create a platform for yourself. And that's kind of what makes you a celebrity, right? Socially, social status wise.
Can I counter just a little bit? I
Oh,
would
yeah.
just counter with saying there's a certain amount of talent that comes in a lot of other celebrities. Because if you're going celebrities through sports, right? Or celebrities through musicians, or celebrities through actresses and actors, they they're doing something that's making them famous that way, because they made a movie, or they acted really well in a play, or they made a song, or they played a sport. And I'm not trying to take away from people who are OnlyFans stars and things like that, because they have a different talent. They have the talent of knowing how to grind and basically, you know, play the algorithm.
Mhm.
It's There is a smartness to that has to come to it, right? You have to be some sort of smart to be able to make it.
And
So
understand the
I'm not going
content
to
you got to provide. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to say that they're like talentless, but it's far less fair that you can be, blessed with a body. And here's the other thing, you don't even have to be blessed with a body anymore, because they have, Brazilian butt lifts and boob jobs and all these kind of things that you can get. And then someone who's like a legit actress might not be getting the same amount of fans.
Mhm.
So like, does that, and I'll take that to Andrew, like, does that kind of, and then what about when it
It-
comes down to the sex worker? I mean, and I'm not trying to say like advocate for sex workers. I mean, I guess so, but like, how does that take away from like a girl who is an exotic dancer versus an OnlyFans star.
Mhm. Again, I mean, if you're asking, hey, is it kind of just putting out into like society that, hey, you know what, if you have, like you said, the looks and everything like that, and you're not maybe trying to put as much, I guess, learning a specific talent or skill, hey, there's an option out there for you where you can generate. You know, you're saying this girl Sophie, whatever her name is generating almost $1 million a day with uploading specific kind of content. You know, then yes, that's kind of what we are probably maybe what OnlyFans are kind of supporting or trying to get out there. Um, in terms of, I guess, like you said,
Okay,
someone.
maybe $1 million was a lot. So she
Are
said
you looking it up?
apparently, yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Apparently, she earned 43 million in her first year,
There's 12
but
months in a year.
That's a lot of monies.
That's a lot of
it's a
money.
lot, and that's in net profits. So it's supposed to be 4 million in a month. I apologize.
Still,
A million a week.
$1 million a week.
you're the
So
wrong profession.
I mean, listen, like that's a lot of money, and that's net. Listen, remember we're saying the word net, so that's take home. That's wild.
And I mean, it's like you said, it's there's still a skill set to understand, you know, how to make you're branding yourself. It's not easy to build a brand on the same at the same time. You know
Her
that
skill set is that apparently she is a virgin, never had sex, and and then people try to pay her to take her virginity. She said that people have tried to pay her to take her virginity. Crazy.
Did you say
Crazy.
that? I'm not gonna say the skill sets to be a virgin. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I mean that's what one of her skill sets are.
Tristan, I'm gonna
Again,
pass it to you. I'm just gonna shut the f up.
Wow. I don't know if that's a skill set, but
Don't
but I do wanna touch on like the point where you made with like dancers versus like OnlyFans. I feel like the only difference is the platform, right?
Mhm.
So if you're a dancer, it's private, whereas if you're OnlyFans, you're now exposed to the public. So now your exposure level is infinitely like just greater,
10
right?
times.
Because
Yeah.
you're out there. Whereas, I mean, you could probably even argue that in that establishment where place of work for the dancer, like you're they could probably be considered a mini celebrity in terms
yeah,
of
of
like the
course.
actual
100%.
the setting itself. Like the stage is theirs, right? So that's what it's about. And that's kind of where this all comes into play. It's like you have a stage and people are looking and they're watching, and you're actually building a brand without you really knowing it. But I think that's really the big exposure, just the platform. That's the difference. Like OnlyFans is that platform.
So as an OnlyFans star, like the world is basically seeing you, right? Because technically anybody in the world could see you. So if you can possibly even have like the I'm gonna mess this word up anonymity of having like a
Anemone.
moonlight as a dancer, and if you're doing like as an exotic dancer in a place and have like a whole different life, and kind of like what you said, like where you're doing something else and you're and what is it in like every movie they're like, oh, I'm stripping to get through medical school or something like that, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, because that's possible
Mhm.
if you have that kind of you know that that structure. But in
Mhm.
an OnlyFans, it's like OnlyFans, and the world is seeing. So
Mhm.
that's an interesting one. All right. So what I would say is that from OnlyFans, what I've noticed is that the kind of the funnel is the Instagram booty shakes. So I'm going to call them the Instagram booty shakes at all times. So the Instagram booty shakes, those are going to be the ones that kind of funnel you, because it's like Instagram booty shake, see my links, click the links, OnlyFans, boom, right? And then, like Andrew said, oh, we're only $3, or oh, it's free for the next 30 days. And you're like, all right. So you
Mhm.
click on it, and it's just like Okay, and then what you notice is like with the OnlyFans thing, it's like you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that, you got to get into this, and then you're like, I'm done with this. It's like I'm just gonna go back to the booty shakes. So you go back to the booty shakes, but what you don't realize, as kind of like how Instagram is even going, anybody could see Instagram booty shakes now, right?
Mhm.
And they're getting bold. They are getting bold. Have you seen the videos of like the girl who does the cartwheel and her shirt goes up, and you're like, I just was that it? Was that?
You saw
And
what you
you're like,
saw, and then do you rewatch it to make sure you saw what you saw?
and that's how they get you. They go, you're like, did I just? And you rewatch and you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden now you've got 2 views on that reel. Crazy. Or the new one is that they'll do something and then they'll say, did you catch it? And you're like, did I catch what? So you gotta watch the view again. And you watch it again. And you're like, I didn't see it this time. You watch it again.
Are you
Crazy.
seeing the ones where like something flashes and you're like, what the? Is there something wrong
Oh
with this video?
yeah. How's your pause game? How's your pause game, right? That's another one. How's your pause game?
I feel like I haven't seen, but I feel like that was a trend for like a little while. Was like the pause game reels per se.
Yep.
And I feel like that hasn't been something that's been up. I feel like the one that you mentioned with the cartwheel is a little bit more common now. And again, I guess that ties into like, hey, this is what's getting the views. This is the clickbait. Remember, like we used to call about clickbait back in the day with dial up and stuff like that. That's what it kind of is now. With like, hey, wait a minute, you know, you're doing like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like, whoa, what is that?
That's exactly what it is. Because you have to take a second. And you're like, did I just see what I just saw? Like, and then especially like at night, like you know, you're in bed and you're like scrolling through, and then you're like, what the? What just happened? And you're like, what the? This because especially because like you said, you
Unsolicited
can't do
titty.
it at work. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And then there's one that I saw one that was hilarious because some of these girls are so funny when they do things. So she's like, she's holding a lamp. She's like, guys, I bought this lamp and I just, I'm just looking at it and I just don't know what bulb is supposed to go in. So she goes like this, right? But when she did this, she pulled out a titty. And so you just see it through the hole. And she goes, I don't know what size lamp, what size bulb should I get? And I was like, was that it? And then you're like, what? And to me, that kind of stuff is hilarious. Like if you're gonna do
I can
something
picture
like
you
that,
laughing. I can just
dog, it's so funny. It's funny to me. But then you got those, and then you got the booty shakes, right? The booty shakes, now they're even doing things like, all girls do their exercise. Well, not all girls, but girls who do the exercise videos and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So now my question to you, Tristan, when they post the booty picture and the booty shakes, they want you to look at the butt?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
100%.
All right. All right.
I think
So I
we're good on that.
I shouldn't
We're
feel
good on that?
bad. Yeah, I
Right,
shouldn't
okay.
feel bad that I'm like, oh wow. So I shouldn't feel bad.
What color was the wall? Who knows?
I don't know.
Right?
No.
Who knows? No, I mean it's all about like attention grabbing. That's what it's designed to do. It's grab your attention. But like, real quick story. I learned so much from, ironically, like scrolling. You go to the explore page, but you learn different things, like accessibility. So if you have an iPhone, you can literally have a voice command where you teach your phone to scroll up. So you do the gesture as an accessibility, and then you voice next, and it scrolls up. Like it imitates that gesture. And guess what you get to do? Go to the next reel. So you can literally be in your bed, hands-free. You've got it like the phone next to you. Next.
Why you need to be hands-free for?
You just learn so much.
Jay, it was on your face, bro. Question was on your face. I just said it. I don't want to.
Because it's cold and you got to get under the comforter.
Why your hands got to be free?
Wow.
He has the.
Was it
he
just
has
not
the arm.
winter?
No, he has the arm that goes from the thing and it allows you to look like this. I got you, T.
Again,
I got
why?
you.
Why?
I got you, T. He was cold. He was
I
cold.
learned
Okay.
during winter. Just saying.
No, but see, those kind of things are crazy. Like you could you could literally and that's what gets us down the rabbit hole, right?
Mhm.
They call it going down the rabbit hole because you just said
God damn
I
it,
don't even have
Alex.
to use my hands anymore. I can just be like laying down like
Hands
this
free.
and be like next,
No, no, don't.
next,
Hands free is
right?
crazy. That
So
is crazy.
okay, so then
All
I
right.
would say this
Andrew's gonna
with
try it
these.
tonight. Like,
No, I'm not. Again,
So
I,
with this idea now, so now that everybody and even like with us talking about like oh big butts and big boobs and all this kind of stuff, that kind of changes for every girl now. Like because that kind of now you're saying I like a girl with big butt, right? And I cannot lie. And yeah, I'll keep going. So when you see that now, if a girl doesn't
the
have
single
that,
ladies.
is that going to go now and change their perception of themselves? Because I
I
mean, it
think so.
happens to us, right?
Mhm.
Like as much because we're getting into this whole sex thing and all this kind of stuff. So like girls are like, yeah, we want a guy with a big, you know what I mean? And it's
Oh
like,
no, they want
we're,
what's the six thing? It's like the 3 6s or something like that. Like 6 feet, 6 inches, like six figures or something. Like that was like a trend thing for a little bit.
that's
But
actually
like
pretty funny. It's actually pretty funny.
I'm
I
being
like
serious. It was
that's
like I had a girl.
that's
I literally had like somebody say like, "Oh, 6 figures," and then there was like, remember the what was that? The finance thing, 6'5", finance, blue eyes. Like that was another trend
oh.
that they were saying girls
So
were looking for, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to get color contacts now. Like, goddamn.
well, I guess this is really also going to pull us into our next couple of episodes because those are the kind of things that we want to really kind of get into and start talking about, like the places that people put us, girls put us into, and we
Mhm.
put girls
Yep.
into. So that's going to be a cool thing. But as far as body positivity and like mental health and stuff like that, as a guy, I'm 5'9" and I'm holding on. That 5'9" is like the average height. I'm holding on, bro. I'm holding on. That is the average height, and it depends on what website you look at because one will tell you 5'9" and one will tell you like 5'10", and I don't look at the 5'10" website.
Website.
That's not the website I
Mm.
go to. Okay,
Man puts
so
that it reports it as spam.
as spam all the time. So if that's the case, as a guy, I mean, Andrew's 6 foot, right? You 6'1", 6 foot, right?
Fortunately,
So
6'1". Yeah,
and Tristan, what are
six
you
two
like?
if my hair wants
5'11"?
to stay. 6'2" if
5'10",
my hair wants to
5'10".
stay up.
5'10". So I'm the shortest out of the group, and I'm like, man, because you hear that all the time. Girls are like, 6 foot or higher. You're like, oh, okay. So I could even think about like how that as a dude that sometimes that happens. And then
Mhm.
don't even get into like you gotta have a certain size junk and all that kind of stuff. So I
Make a
get
certain
it,
amount of money.
and a certain amount of money. And so I get it that it's kind of it's crazy, but both sides do it, right?
Mhm.
Girls and guys do it. So it's just not fair for the girl, even like the little girls, like you're growing up now, they're thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is how I have to be. So that's what kills me about this is because I don't want like I don't have any kids or anything, but like I wouldn't want my kid coming into the world thinking like that's how you have to go and make money. Like that's like I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a lawyer, I want you to be like smart, like use your brains, use those kinds of things. Now, is it hypocritical? Yes. It's so hypocritical for me to say something like that, but go ahead and tell you, like, I don't mind looking, right? So can you talk to that? I don't know. Who wants to take that? Andrew, you want to take that? Talk to the hypocrisy of something like that.
I mean, it's kind of just part of like the world of like there's hypocrisy in almost everything. And again, like you said, yeah, would we? Oh, obviously, no kids amongst the three of us, but yeah, we'd probably want our future kids to pick something that doctor, lawyer. I mean, if my future kid could be a professional athlete, that should be crazy, be awesome. Kind of deal, and it's not really out there showing their body in specific ways and things that we won't, I really hope I don't got to see that and stuff like that. Now, again, we understand, some of these situations, the amount of income that can be generated in doing this could be, you just said it with this girl, almost about 4 million a month, that you're like, well, how you start feeling. But again, I guess that's all about, morals, what you feel, again, what also you feel most comfortable with. If you have that body positivity and you want to flaunt and go out there, hey, be my guest. And again, like you said, we've all taken that look at it, and round of applause in some of those cases too. And that is not a pun. Don't neither one of you smile.
So T, when it comes down to something like this, and we're looking at, the objectivity, and we always get into power complexes and all this kind of stuff. That it's interesting though, because an exotic dancer or someone who's in the OnlyFans, they can, even in these IG things, they can actually command a little bit of power, right? Like, I'm letting you see what I want you to see, and if you want more, you gotta pay, right? You got anything for that?
Oh no, absolutely. I feel like and it also just kind of creates this like false standard, right? So there's like, I don't know like when this actually started, but now you can literally become an Instagram model. Like, remember before
Yeah.
Instagram models, like you actually have to be like a real model. Now like social media is giving you this platform where you can be an Instagram model. Like, what exactly is that, right? So it's like almost like social media became the agent for people. Like, let me represent you, let me get you this exposure, let me get you in front of like the audience, right? So, and again, like that's the thing with that whole persona of what social media helps you create, because like you said, like I can show you what I want, and then it's like bait, and then I got you hooked, because now I'm gonna get you over. I'm gonna get you over here to this, OnlyFans or whatever, and it's just you're stringing people along. So it's just like a theme just doesn't go away, right?
So there's this OnlyFans, right, that you got to pay to see. There's this Instagram that kind of like funnels you into there.
Teaser.
And then the teaser. Yeah, I love that. And then there's just the big old Wild West that we call Twitter. Because Twitter or X, I mean, X is crazy. Because you go out there and you'll scroll and it's like unsolicited titty pic. And you're like, whoa, what? And then I'm following sports people on Twitter a lot. And then you're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. All right. And you're like, that's just like spread. And you're like, whoa, this is like, I'll tell you a story. And this is a pretty embarrassing story. So I had somebody come to the house. They were actually like selling like a particular product. And we linked because of a family friend, and they do their work through social media, haha, but not that kind of work. But they do like sales and advertising. A very, very pretty girl. She came through. She did this amazing presentation. Everything was awesome. So at the end, she was just like, "Oh, hey, like, could you take a picture of yourself holding the product, and we'll put it on your Facebook, and then we'll kind of like advertise and get people to, and whoever clicks on this link, I'll give you credit towards that, and it'll get you towards these products." And I'm like, I've done, different types of network marketing. I've done this kind of stuff. I get it 100%. I'm with you. I'm here. So I do that. So she takes a picture of me holding the product. And then I was like, so what do you want me to do? You want me to put on Facebook? And she's like, here. And she grabs my phone. And when she grabs my phone, she says, I'll do it. And she presses the photo button. And here's the problem. I had just found, we have a group chat. All three of us have a group chat. And there was a chick that was on Instagram. There was a girl that was on Instagram that we were like, wow, she's really cute. So I had sent a picture to the group. And then she posted something saying, oh, her OnlyFans were free. And I was like, oh, no. So I I screenshot it. I know I'm not supposed to. I'm sorry, but I
Never
screenshot it and I
saw
sent it
all
to the
this.
group. But here's the problem: when she pressed the photo button, that popped up, and she was like, "Oh," and I was like, "That is embarrassing." So I was like, And so she laughs. She got all red. She laughed. And then she tells me this. She goes, "That's all right. No worries." She was like, "But go to Twitter. Twitter has the best porn." And this was her telling me. She's like, "Go to Twitter. Twitter has the best porn." And I was like, that took like a lot of the edge off of the situation. But to have a girl tell you that, then you know it had to be this wild wild west out here. You know it is some next stuff. So I'll go to Tristan. Talk to me. What's on this wild wild west story of X? I mean, they call it X for a reason, right?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, ain't no coincidence now. Now it all makes sense. I'm like, why would we change it to X? But again, I just feel like it's, you got a platform and people will take advantage of it. But I really, that's really a coincidence right there with the symbol. Now that I'm thinking about it, X.
So when they went, and it was crazy because when it went from this private to public kind of thing, right? Because the changeover of X, it kind of opened up to more things, and that kind of really changes these things. Social media becomes the archives of our history, and that is wild to think. Because if an alien came down and looked at our social media, they would think that we were either A, absolutely nuts, right? And B, just sex hounds, that everybody is just fornicating left and right because everything is sex. And we're going, and there was a point where in the media, for a girl to show her leg, and they would go and show the leg just to get a cab or something like that. And they're like, "Oh, they showed her leg." If you don't see, you see two legs and in different directions at all times in these social media places. I'm saying like these legs are left, right, up, down. This is, yo, you seen the one where they put it on the fan and then they're like
Oh,
they bust it
the
down,
twerking one,
right?
the twerking one.
Yeah, like
That was
what?
yeah.
That's But so what I'm saying is like this is like the archives to our generations. What is it saying to something like that where anybody can have Twitter,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, you can again platform where you can just show off what you want to show off, like you said, and start getting those viral hits. And I know you said Instagram is kind of like what the little teaser, like you said.
Yeah.
I guess you can also, yeah, you get you to the OnlyFans, but I guess X now, you might get like that little full trailer per se kind of thing. And then you're just like, well, this is what they're doing. What are they doing on the next one? And, what are they doing on the next one? And things like that. So now, like Tristan said, now you got there was that little bit of the bait, and now you're on the hook. And, I mean, you ghosted off already. Like, they ain't never talking to you. But
Once they get their money, once they get the money, they don't need to talk to you no more.
yep.
But even though on a place like OnlyFans, they try to talk to you, but it's
Mm.
all bots. It's all bots trying to talk to you. They're
Their
all just
assistant,
trying
they're
to
not talking to you.
yeah, they're sending out like blast
Well,
messages.
how about some of that? I mean, now you got like AI. I'm hearing like people are doing like AI OnlyFans. It's not even like a real person.
Bro, they have AI Instagram models, AI OnlyFans models, like you said,
Mm.
AI Twitters, and these girls aren't even real.
Crazy.
What's
They're not
real?
even a real
What's fake?
person. Yeah.
Like
So
maybe they are
I
amazing.
so I'll say is this. What does it say about us? Because when we're wrapping this up and kind of talking about, us as a society and us as people, you know, what does it say about us as a society that we are really can tell somebody that they're going to be famous based off of their looks? What is what kind of thoughts you got off of that?
I think the core of it, it's just like it goes back to popularity contests. So what does every single social platform have in common? Followers, subscribers, right? It's something that's quantifiable, and then you can relate it to popularity. Oh, how many subscribers do you have? How many followers do you have? So if you're talking OnlyFans, obviously the more people that are subscribed to your content, the more, the wealthier you're going to be, right? So all the only difference is now we're talking monetary, but take it back to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's followers, right? So you always look at like, oh, how many followers does that person have? And we definitely relate that to popularity. So now that becomes the goal, like you want to be the most popular person. So I think it's also centered around the core topic of validation. So everybody wants to be validated, and how do you get validated? Increase your followers, so then you can log onto a platform and go, oh wow, 3,000 people follow me, or 3,000 people will potentially see and like something that I put out there. You're getting that validation that you normally wouldn't get in your everyday life. So walking down the street, you're not going to get 3,000 people probably interacting with you, right? So,
Andrew, with that and kind of talking about the validation and the likes and everything like that, does that kind of change what your thought process? Have you changed what you think is hot or not based off of these kind of things?
I mean, you see, the trends, the patterns, and you make your judgments of like, oh, yo, I really like that, or I might not enjoy liking that, and I probably won't want to see it. And we know our algorithms start to get based on what you might be sharing with your friends, family, and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, too, I mean, in terms of like the popularity thing, if you know how to play the game, you understand algorithms and stuff like that. That's another way to kind of boost up the following and making sure you're getting the most out of the specific platform that you're looking to utilize, whether it is OnlyFans, whether it is X, whether it is Instagram. Because if sometimes you're not playing the game, like they said, if you're not in it to win it with the lottery and stuff like that, you don't got the ticket, you can't really play per se. But yeah, it's very easy nowadays with a lot of these flash in the pan kind of trends that can be happening to be thinking that, oh yeah, I like that. That is what's popular. I'm gonna go ahead and follow that, and then a month later it's something else that we're doing or watching and sharing.
so
Nice.
Jay, if I
Yeah.
were to ask you, like, you come across a post, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got 3,000 likes, 1,000 hearts. Versus a post that's got like 23. Aren't you going to be like more apt to kind of like, well, let me stop and take a look at this one that's got a three? Why do 3,000 people like
Yeah.
this, or all these
Of
comments,
course.
right? So that's what starts a trend. So I think it just kind of like, kind of all like blends together. That kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know what your thoughts specifically, but
No, I mean that's perfect. That's like a great way to think about it because as a human being, we're naturally curious, right? We're curious on what's going on, and we want to. And we're pack animals, no matter what. Like we are definitely people who want to, have, especially us, at least us three. We're definitely kind of people who are like want our alone time, but we're pack animals at the end of the day. So we see what the herd's doing. We see what most people are doing. Does it mean that we're going to always go in that direction? Absolutely not. I mean, I still have faith in human beings. I have faith in us as people because the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So a lot of the times when we're seeing these things, we're seeing this because of there's the select few or the little that are doing these booty shakes and all these kind of things, and that they found the algorithm. They've done that. I can tell you this personally. I don't think that my views on what I find hot has changed. I think it stays pretty much the same way. Um, for me, like if I had a choice, the ultimate choice is like the ultimate girl next door. That's what I've always always kind of leaned to. Do I think that other things are attractive? Yes. Do I what am I going to look at other things and say, "Wow, that's a crazy butt" or something like that. And even though I'm like, "Oh, I'm an ass guy," if somebody has like a nice pair of boobs, like I'm not going to be like, nope, not for me. Like that's not how I am. Like that's not going to happen. But for me, I think you can find things attractive, but not change the things that you like. And I still have faith. I have faith in these two guys that I know that they, the way that they think. I have faith in humanity that although this has really changed a lot of stuff that we've seen, and a lot of people have changed their thoughts of what is sexy and all this kind of stuff. Um, I still think at the end of the day, if you have that emotional maturity, if you have that kind of, you know, not so much Andrew, but me and Tristan are getting up there on age. So we're
Straight.
we are getting up there on age, so we
I'm
think
about
of
to catch a
things a
stray.
little different. No, I actually gave you a compliment. It was a straight compliment.
You
I
I
started
like
off-
caught
that
the
back.
straight.
It started
Yeah.
off like I was gonna catch a stray. I'm not gonna lie.
Nah, I was
So-
right by you.
So I think with that, it kind of changes our view of attraction, fame, and intimacy, that kind of stuff. But what's hot, what's not. I think our biggest thing is that it boils down to the person.
Mhm.
I think we've established throughout this whole lineup that all of this is really based off of the person. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you are constantly checking up on us. This is the Instagram for Just Another Take. We have some crazy, crazy pictures. I have some things in the works for us. Some reels for Podcast Poppy over there. I got some pictures for all three of us that I've been working on. We're constantly updating our YouTube. We're constantly updating our Instagram. We're going to be getting on to you at TikTok. We're going to try to get to all the platforms that we can. I actually want to give Andrew and Tristan a second just to kind of talk about thanking people. We have actually hit 100 followers. Thank you so much. I want to give each one of them a chance to kind of thank everybody. Andrew, go ahead. You started off.
Yeah, thank you for all the support. We got that first triple digit number. Again, we're going to keep coming to you guys with more content, and looking to help us get to 200, 300, and so on and so forth. So again, thank you for the support. We appreciate it, and keep showing the love.
Let's go, T.
We definitely appreciate that. Just thank you so much for all the support, the love. And this is what it's all about, just kind of like reaching, the audience. So appreciate it.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you throw some comments under there. Have you ever seen a Instagram booty shaking video that you like? Link it on the bottom. We'll love it. Thank you so much. This was Just
Another
Take.
Have a good one, guys.